What's up guys, I'm Lee Morse with Fstoppers.com, and just a few minutes ago in the mail I got my fake MB-D12 battery grip for the Nikon D800. The real one is currently being sold at 400 bucks. This one was around 100 bucks. So is it worth the saved money to go ahead and get the fake? Today we'll find out. A few months back when Nikon announced the D800, everybody was really excited about the camera. 36 megapixels for only 3,000 bucks. What an incredible deal. But when we heard about the price of the battery grip for the D800, everybody was a little bit confused because the retail price was over $600 for a battery grip, which had always cost less than $300 before. Nobody could really figure out why all of a sudden they decided to double the price of the battery grip. Now that the camera's out and everything's been sold for a while, the price has settled around $400, which is a little bit better, but it's still pretty expensive for something that simply holds a battery and then gives you vertical controls so that you don't have to hold the camera like this. You can hold the camera like this when taking vertical images. So about a month ago, we did a post on Fstoppers where I said, finally, there are fake grips available. They're currently in China, but you can buy them on eBay. And at that point, I bought one. It's been over a month now, and just minutes ago, I finally got it in the mail. So in today's video, I'm going to compare the fake grip versus the real one. There's about a $350 difference here, and we will see if it's worth paying for the real thing, or if you should just go ahead and spend a little bit less money and get the fake. So if you remember, last year we created a video where I got scammed on Amazon by buying what I thought was a real Nikon battery grip for the D7000. It was sold as real for retail price. It came in retail Nikon packaging, and I learned that it was actually fake after I realized that the battery tray wouldn't fit into my other grip. And at that point I realized that I had been sold a fake from one of Amazon's sellers. The interesting thing about that fake was that it was actually being sold as a replica for $30 on Amazon as well, without the Nikon branding. And for 30 bucks, that was really an incredible deal. I suggested that if you didn't care about buying the retail Nikon version of the grip, go ahead and spend 30 bucks, save a few $100 and get the fake, because there was almost no difference at all. You'll notice here that both of these grips are very, very similar. It is not as similar as the fake D7000 grip that I was conned into buying last year. When you put this on the camera and you put your hand around it, it's going to feel almost the exact same in terms of ergonomics, but the buttons do feel a little bit mushier. When I rotate the rotator knobs on the real grip, I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels well made. It's clicky, but it's also got a nice softness to it. When you click on the fake one, it's just more rattly, and it does feel slightly cheaper. Same thing goes for the AF on button. This one is a little bit more clicky. You can feel when you're pressing it, and on the fake it's slightly mushier. You're not quite sure when you've hit the button or if it's just barely pushing in. It's kind of one solid motion all the way through, whereas the real Nikon grip does click. You can actually hear it just a little bit. When you get to the D-pad on the back, this is how you're going to change the focus points or how you're going to cycle through images. The Nikon grip feels really good. Again, very, very clicky. And once again, the fake is just a little bit muddier feeling, and you're not quite sure that you've pressed the direction that you want to. You're not quite sure that it's clicked over, whereas there's absolutely no doubt on the Nikon version. One noticeable difference is the rubber on each of these grips. You'll notice that the rubber on the Nikon version matches the D800 perfectly, and the rubber on the fake version, it's a lot more reflective, it's a lot more shiny, and it doesn't quite feel the same, but honestly, you probably wouldn't notice any difference if you were just touching it without looking at it side by side. So I put both of these grips on my D800, took a few different shots, made sure to change each of the settings, and luckily the problem that we had with the D7000 grip was that the rotator knobs were reversed. So if you go right on the Nikon version, it would change the f-stop in one direction, but if you did it on the fake, it would go in the other direction. Luckily they have fixed that now with the fake, so that's not a problem at all. One big problem with these two grips is that the battery holder is completely different. So if you have multiple D800s, you're going to want to get either all Nikon grips or all fake grips, because I'm constantly grabbing one tray out of one and putting it into another camera at weddings, and so this would drive you absolutely crazy if each grip took a different battery holster. Obviously they take the same battery though. Now, many people have complained that, well, the real grip by Nikon is really expensive because it's made of magnesium alloy and the fake knockoff grips are made of cheap plastic, and that's why it's worth the extra money. And I can tell you, if you hold them, I can tell absolutely no difference in terms of weight. If you actually like tap on each of them, you can tell that the Nikon one is a little bit sturdier. But again, I'm not throwing my camera around to where I feel like the battery grip needs to be bulletproof. In fact, when you're using it, this feels just as sturdy as the real Nikon version. So the main reason you're going to want to consider even buying this grip is because of the money that you can save. And I think I bought this thing around 100 bucks, and right now the Nikon version is $400. If you're all about Nikon and you just want to have the brand name or you want to support Nikon, then of course go with the Nikon grip. But if you're talking about just the way something feels and the way something works, I cannot honestly say that the Nikon version is 4 times better. Maybe I would pay an extra 50 bucks for the Nikon version, but for it to be $300 more, unless you have all the money in the world, I would say go ahead, get the fake grip. If it breaks, you still have enough money left over to buy 3 more. And honestly, I don't see it breaking. It seems to work fine to me. And when I buy my next D800, I'm probably going to buy a fake grip to go with it.